Welcome to BibleTelling, Story of the Week. We're going through a series called Lesser Known Stories of the Old Testament. I'm in Taiwan. I've been speaking at the Taiwan Missionary Fellowship. And so the next three stories that we're going to do, I actually told at that conference. It's a series on Elijah. The first one today is what I call the ravens and the widow. So let's just get right into it, and I'll talk to you on the other side. Enjoy the story. Ahab became the king of the northern kingdom of Israel. He was a wicked king, more than all those that had come before him. He married a Philistine woman by the name of Jezebel. She worshiped the idol Baal, and through her influence, set up a temple to Baal in the capital city. The prophet Elijah came to Ahab and said, "Thus saith the Lord, because of your wickedness, it will not rain in Israel until I give the command." God then said to the prophet that he was to go to a certain brook. The Lord said, "I have already told the ravens to bring you food." Elijah went to the brook, and sure enough, every morning and every evening the ravens came and brought him food. The famine was severe in the land, and eventually the brook dried up. Then the Lord said, "Go to a city named Zarephath, and there I have selected a widow who will provide for you." So Elijah went to Zarephath, and there he saw a widow gathering wood. He said to her, Please go get me some water." She turned to get the water, and then he called after her, and with the water, "Bring me a little bit of bread." She turned to the prophet and said, "I don't have any bread, but I have a little flour in the bowl and a little oil in the jar, and I was gathering these sticks to make a fire so that I could make some bread, and then my son and I were going to eat it and then die." The prophet said, "Make the bread, as you have said. But when it is done, first give me some. Then you and your son can have the rest. Don't be afraid to do what I say, because the Lord has said that the flour will always be in the jar, and the oil will always be there." So the widow decided to do as he said, and she made the bread and first gave him some. And it was just like the Lord had said. There was always flour and there was always oil until it rained upon Israel. She made an apartment for the prophet in the upper room, and he stayed there. Time went by, and one day the widow's son was sick. The sickness got more severe until finally he died. The woman said, "Oh, man of God, why have you come in my home? Was it to expose my guilt and so you could take my son?" The prophet said, "Bring the boy to me." He then took the boy and went up to his apartment and laid him on his bed. And he prayed, "Oh, Lord God, why have you brought me into this woman's house and then have taken her son?" He then laid across the boy. And he prayed, Lord, bring life to this child. He then stood up. He laid back down across the child and said, Oh, Lord God, bring life to this child. He then stood up. Once again, he laid across the child and said, Oh, Lord God, bring life to this child. He then stood up again. The boy started breathing. Elijah took the lad and went down the stairs to the widow and said, Here is your son. He is alive. She said, Now I know that you are the man of God, that God's words are in your mouth. What a wonderful story. Those of you that like to research, there is a tradition that focuses on the widow's son. I challenge some of you to look it up and see who that son could have been. I think you'll find that very interesting. And of course, this brings me to welcoming you to our website, BibleTelling.org. If you're able to look up some research on the widow's son, write into us and tell us what you find. We would love to hear your comments. And come back next week when we'll continue on with this wonderful story about Elijah on Bible Telling, Story of the Week.